Okay.
Yeah.
Ready? We'll go again.
Yes.
Right. Welcome, guys, to the first Offside podcast. We'll just go around and introduce everyone first. Why don't go ahead and say your name, where you're from, and maybe what team you support, and then we'll jump into the weekend's action. Start with Daniel.
Hi, I guess you've partly introduced me, but I'm Daniel. I support Arsenal. I'm currently based in LA, so West Side Gunners. Let's go.
Thank you. Move on to Merad.
Merad, based out of the UK, normally in London. Supporting Man United through and through. So not the only one, but we'll move it on.
Yeah, we'll go to Paul.
Yeah, I'm Paul, based out in Cyprus and diehard United fan.
And then Emil.
Hi, my name is Emil. I'm based in Cyprus and I support Arsenal. Go Gunners!
Very good. And just back to myself. Yeah, back to myself. So I'm Arad, again, based out of Cyprus, and we 3-2, just like we beat them in the Emirates. We're also beating them now, 3-2. Come on, United! Wow. All right, so we'll jump into the weekend's action. We'll start off with Liverpool against City, biggest game of the week, I would say. Maybe not the most surprising, but definitely the biggest one. We'll start with Daniel again. So, just what were your thoughts on the game before we jump into some specifics?
I mean, I'd have to say that Liverpool at Anfield are a different breed. They can be down and out, but when you play against them at their ground, they will turn up. I didn't think they're going to win. I thought maybe the draw is the best they're going to get, but I wasn't surprised per se when they won. I haven't watched the game, I have to be honest. I've seen the highlights, but they were superb. They should have won this game by 2 or 3-0 in moments. They have annihilated City's defense. Cancelo was spinning around like a fidget spinner at moments when he was playing Salah. I'm not sure what Pep was complaining about. I have to say the decision regarding the disallowed goal was questionable, but I don't think if there was a pull that was regarding the Fabinho one, there was a foul. So I don't think there can be any complaints. I have to say I'm not sure if Liverpool can go for the title now, but this is them announcing themselves for the top 4, most likely. I'm not sure. We'll have to see them in the long run, but I have a feeling they're going to be pushing for that top 4 and might even get it. I'm not sure. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think you touched on the City goal that perhaps shouldn't have stood or should have stood. We'll go to Paul on that one. I see Merad's got his head shaking, but we'll skip him and go to Paul. What do you think about that goal? Do you think it was fairly disallowed, or would you have said otherwise?
I think VAR is a joke at this point. Because when you're watching the game live, I think the referees are doing a good job. I don't think there's any reason. Whenever we saw that goal disallowed, and the reason it was disallowed for more than the tackle on the goalie, who was it, Ederson. It's a pull on Fabinho that happened a few minutes ago that no one even thought about talking about. Not a player complained about it, not a fan. No one even mentioned it. Yeah, it's getting pulled back for that. It's like, why are we pulling it back half an hour back almost to just pull it for? Yes, technically breaking of the rules, but it's like, come on now.
Yeah. I think after the game, Merad, there was talk, and I think Bernardo Silva in his interview mentioned that consistency is what they're asking for from the refs. And if the ref had clearly let the game go on, and that had been the decision he made from the beginning, that little nibbles and things like that weren't going to be called. And then, does the result of a goal impact the decisions that were being made, or do you think that was the inconsistency that they were, talking about there?
Yeah, I think inconsistency has been the theme of the weekend. We'll get into the other games as well, but I've not witnessed another Premier League weekend, at least in my memory, with so many controversial and horrible decisions, which will have big effects on the title race, top 4 races, etc.
It's happened. Sorry, but it happened like 3-4 weeks ago, where Man City had a goal disallowed by VAR. Chelsea had a goal allowed. No, sorry, Aston Villa against Chelsea, they had a goal disallowed. I think it was.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's happened many times before.
Yeah, it's always a talking point. Even last weekend with Marcus Rashford scoring that goal compared to Mikel Antonio literally handling the ball with his arm.
Yeah.
The controversy is always there, and it's always a talking point. So VAR needs to be questioned, and we've spoken about this before. But referees need to be held accountable for their actions as much as players and managers. For example, Jurgen Klopp getting sent off. I mean, look, that's a joke. Klopp has every right to show passion. He didn't say anything, at least from what the cameras showed, out of line. He didn't go onto the pitch. It's just killing the game. But I think the disallowed goal killed their spirits more than the Liverpool goal did. The fact they did work for it, and it was very, very soft. As a United fan, I don't really care if City are losing points and dropping points, but in the end of the day, you want to watch a good, fair game of football, and I don't think that was it.
Yeah.
I think it really killed the game.
Well, Emil, I mean, when it comes to the title race, being an Arsenal fan, I know the result yesterday probably delighted you guys. I don't know how much you believe in a title race. I know Arsenal fans have been sort of downplaying it, but 4 points clear, 10 games played.
Yeah,
I think any other team, and you say you're in a race. How do you think that game impacts the title race for you guys?
listen, it was very good. I would say that, okay, it was something that I was hoping for, for Liverpool to win, because that just means that City, stay back. So we go up on points. But at the end of the day, I still kind of see, like non-biased wise, of course, I want Arsenal to get the league, but non-biased wise, I still see that Man City somehow get on top. At the end of the day, they are on paper, the best team in the league. You can't say no.
Yeah. So, I mean, four out of the last 5 have gone their way. So it's hard to see it going differently this time. And
exactly.
The closest competitors have been Liverpool. So really, do you think Arsenal can mount a challenge with 90 plus points, which I think is what needs to be happening?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's a very young squad, so you never know. The pressure might get to them mid-season because there's a lot of games.
Yeah. Daniel, how about you? From an Arsenal point of view as well, maybe do you share the same views as do you see Arsenal being in a title race at all, or are you just taking it game by game and sort of seeing where you end up?
I think it's too early to say. I remember Man United were first a couple of years ago. It was in November, and people were saying, "Oh, okay, this time
we're first by Christmas.
They'll push United, they'll push City, and then they finished 20 points behind City or something along those lines." So it's too early to say. I have to say Arsenal are looking really, really good. The schedule that we've been on has been actually pretty tough. It's Spurs, Liverpool, then both in the middle. Going to play in the Arctic Circle last Thursday was pretty tough on them.
Spurs at home, Liverpool at home.
Yeah.
You've not had any tough fixtures away from home except United, and you lost. But
yeah, but you still have to win those games. Crystal Palace away is a tough game. Leeds away is a tough game.
You're mentioning Leeds away. Let's dive into that one.
I think nowadays I think nowadays there's no easy game in the Premier League. I don't know. That's how I feel.
Except Nottingham Forest.
What?
Nottingham Forest are like freebies, mate.
Yeah, okay, except Nottingham Forest. But apart from that, okay, every game is a shock, no?
No, I agree with that, Emil. I mean, we speak about Arsenal, Leeds away, tough game, definitely. And I think we saw the tough game that it was for Arsenal. Again, unfortunately, the game will be marred by difficult VAR decisions and, controversial ones, to say the least. I watched the game and I can say that it could have genuinely gone either way. Maybe Leeds feel hard done by. Daniel, again, going back to you on this, with regards to the VAR decisions, coming from an Arsenal fan, do you think the right decisions were made, or do you feel a bit fortunate walking away with 3 points?
I have to say, feeling fortunate not due to the VAR decision, but because Leeds were brilliant in the second half. That was our toughest game of the season. The second half, Leeds, I'd have to say, probably would feel hard done by not getting away with a point at least. I have to say that the penalty one, yes, that was a penalty. However, if you actually watch the replay, there's an offside in the build-up from a Leeds player.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to be fair, there's an offside there, and and if the handball came from that, then that's not a penalty if there's an offside. The second one, there's been a lot of controversy. I don't see why. yes, there's been questions regarding VAR, but Bamford was running into Gabriel. He used his momentum. He pushed him. Gabriel fell, and you can see Bamford, stomping over and falling on Gabriel's leg. He fell, and Gabriel kicked out in a way, but that was after the initial foul. So he gets a yellow for kicking out, but that's not a penalty if it came from a foul by Bamford. So I don't see the complaints there. It went to VAR. I was thinking about the same decision. I had this a couple of weeks ago when Arsenal scored a goal at Old Trafford and the goal was disallowed for a foul by Odegaard. Was that a foul? Yes, it was. That's why the goal got disallowed. Was this a foul by Bamford? Yes, it was. He didn't just run into him shoulder to shoulder. He was pushing into him with his hands. So I'm not sure what all the complaints are about.
I think when you also look at that game, maybe we'll go to Paul on this one. And I'm not sure if you've seen this, but Bamford scored a goal that was called off for a slight push inside the box. If you've seen that back, do you have any comments on that? Do you think that was the right decision, or do you think that's quite soft?
Yeah, it's not a push. I thought what you gave the VAR call was for a handball. I just watched the replay. And when I see it, I can see that there's a call maybe that it hits him around the hand area to then say a handball, but it's not a push.
But that wasn't
the official decision. The official decision wasn't. No. The official decision was a push, a foul in the build-up to the goal. It wasn't called a handball.
The fact we're even questioning this shows you that goal should have stood 100%. There was no handball. It was super soft because the ball bounces off the side of his chest, and there's a fraction of the ball which makes contact with his arm, but his arm is clearly on his body. And the fact we're questioning why that goal wasn't given, even from an Arsenal fan perspective, you have to admit Leeds were hard done that game, and Arsenal got extremely lucky, and it won't happen every week unless VAR fucks up again.
Yes, I agree. You have to look at the way we play this season. This is the first game we got away lucky per se without deserving of a win. Every game we've won the season, we thoroughly deserved it. We've been better. We've been a better team for those games. Even against United, you can argue that we were pretty good. We lost, but we were looking very good. We could have scored more. You can argue we should have scored more. We did, and United used their skill to a great extent, but you can rightfully argue that we should have potentially won that game. This is the only game in the Premier League this season where we came away lucky, and I think Emil can agree. We felt happy after we won the game, obviously, but there was now this elated feeling of, yes, we've won this game. We won it, job done, we move on.
Can I just go back?
Emil, what are your thoughts on that then, Emil?
But
we're losing you. We can't hear you.
That was great, mate. Well done.
The delay in the game.
Can you go back? We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, we lost you there for a second. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No, what I was saying is I think also that, the whole idea that the momentum got stopped in the beginning, the 30 minutes that, the issue there was. So that also affects the whole, all of the players in general, not only Arsenal, but also Leeds. But, the suspense, it disappears a little bit, the momentum of how the players are. Because you get, you become, I don't know.
But sorry, again, can I just go back? Because you mentioned that red card, Daniel, wasn't a red card, right?
It was not.
And that penalty should not have stood. Let's assume the penalty is not a penalty, which, in all fairness, you can argue both ways. Where
why? But they
already got
one penalty, though. They got one penalty and they missed it.
I'm talking about the second incident where Bamford pushes into Gabriel. You can assume the first option is Bamford pushes Gabriel, or the second instance is, if you look closely, Gabriel stops moving and blocks him from a run. Bamford has no choice but to make contact.
No, come on, no.
Let me finish. Fair decision, goal not being given, penalty not being given, fine. but the red card has to stand. Why does a player get booked for taking off his shirt and celebrating? Goal gets overturned, player still gets a booking. Whereas Gabriel did kick out. The red card is not, no one's questioning the fact that was a red card. He kicked out. He shouldn't have done. The emotions got the better of him. The red card should still stand.
I
And
don't
going
think
up
there
to
was
10
any
men against
emotions
Leeds.
there. Yeah, but
No,
why?
I'm sorry.
What do you mean emotions?
The refereeing is atrocious. That red card has to stand. There's no way you can revoke a red card in an instant where it changes the game.
I don't think it has to stand. No. But
Well,
what
I
did
think
Gabriel do? What did Gabriel do to get the red card?
There's obviously a lot of
He
controversy.
kicked out. What do you mean?
Around
He
those
kicked the
Arsenal
player.
decisions.
Well, there was not even a contact. There was not such a big contact. And second of all, okay, you can even argue. Yes, but you can even argue that maybe when he pushed him with such a force.
Okay, question. Let me ask you. That's not a red
the
card.
legs went up.
What about Emerson Royal against Arsenal? Was that a red card then?
He stepped on his foot going away from the player. The ball was nowhere near. He stepped on the foot of a player. Simple as.
Have you guys seen the Chelsea? Hang on. Have you guys seen the Chelsea, the Chilwell tackle in the Chelsea game? It was quite similar to the one in against Arsenal with Emerson getting sent off.
No, but he was going for the ball.
Just a yellow for
saw
Chilwell.
That tackle. He was going for the ball.
Yeah.
Martinelli was going away from Emerson. The ball was nowhere near. He stepped on him in order to stop the attack. He wasn't going for the ball. That's a different situation. All in all,
but it's not a red card tackle, mate. It's a yellow card.
Well, I think we can all agree that there's definitely inconsistencies with decisions this season, and specifically this weekend. And yeah, I mean, Arsenal's consistency, like you said, Daniel, is 9 wins in 10. And I said this in the beginning. I think any other team in the league that does that is a title contender, and there needs to be some respect put on Arsenal's name, because Liverpool do that, City do that, Chelsea do that, United do that, and we're contenders. It just seems like if Arsenal do it, it's not so much. But no, there definitely needs to be a level of respect, and that's evident.
If I can jump in quickly, just before we move topics, I think we'll have to see how the season. I would say, well, not the season ends, but how we leave the Premier League for the World Cup. Whether Arsenal finish first or they're finish like a couple of points behind City, and it'll depend on January. It probably depends on the owners. If they see us, sitting first or a couple of points behind City, and they invest, because we need investments. We need a DM backup to Partey. We need a winger backup to Saka, as we have no backups in those positions. If we get strong backups, what are we linked with? Danilo from Brazil. I saw links to Locatelli. I'm just throwing around random names. I'm nothing specific. Same with Mudryk as a winger. If we get backups, we might as well challenge. Look, I don't believe we're going to win the league. I don't think anybody seriously believes Arsenal will win the league. Most of it is just football banter. If you seriously sit down with an Arsenal fan and tell them, are actually going to win the league? Like, no. If we're in this position in March, end of February, okay, maybe there's a different conversation. But currently, we look very good. I think top 4 is doable. A trophy, perhaps 1 or 2, 1, not 2. But I wouldn't say it's a league-winning team. It's a team that's looking very, very strong. The momentum, the togetherness is there. But winning the title, I think you said it before, City look way too strong. This was a blip in their run, but every team has their blips. I think they're gonna come back and show what they are.
Good. Yeah, it's fine. So move on to the United game. Paul, we can get stuck into refereeing decisions again, and I think there were a few there that we can contest. But just going past that for a second onto a different topic, can United get top 4?
I mean, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it sometimes feels like the players we've got are not good. Like, they're not good enough. And I think there's no clearer player to demonstrate that this week than Fred. every time you watch him get the ball, besides him missing an absolute sitter, if you ever just watch him and pay attention, I would say he's the player who probably loses the ball most. If it's not him, then it's Bruno Fernandes. And I actually have another issue with him as well. Too many times he gets that ball into deep areas and he tries for that superhero pass, whatever you want to call it, rather than keeping possession and helping the team move up the pitch altogether. he's maybe his ego is getting the better of him and getting in his way. But ever since we've come out of lockdown, it seems like the old Bruno's just stayed there.
So yes or no, top four for United?
Top four for United. If we keep playing like this, no.
Okay. See, but you mentioned that the players aren't good enough. And on one hand, I agree with you. But on the other hand, I think if you take our players pound for pound against the Arsenal team, starting 11s, the only player that would get into our team in terms of potential and quality of player would be Odegaard for Bruno Fernandes. Every other player.
You're saying the only player. You're saying the only player from Arsenal's team that would get into United's team is Odegaard.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
No.
What?
Who else would you take?
I would take almost the entire. Yeah. Saka, Martinelli, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Xhaka. Even
why wouldn't you?
Hold on.
All the entire defensive line of Arsenal.
One second, guys.
You're
guys,
dropping Anthony. You're dropping Rashford.
What? What you wait?
Am I hearing
you're gonna put
right?
Rashford instead of Gabriel Jesus,
or instead of Saka, and instead of Martinelli, perhaps.
My God, guys!
Listen, guys, I think we need 1 minute. 1 minute. I think no. We'll get 5 minutes to go over that. You know, I think that's an interesting segment with combined 11s.
No, that is ridiculous.
Listen, guys.
What about William Saliba?
Guys,
you don't even have one from the defender. Where's the
order?
This is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm hearing
this. Merat, you're telling me you wouldn't take William Saliba in your starting 11?
What?
What about Ben White?
The two best centre backs in the league.
Martinez, you're talking about? Come on.
Oh my God. Saliba, the guy who dances.
All right, okay. 1 minute. Merat.
Merat, you're just offside.
We'll get into
you're
it.
offside. Merat, you're offside.
Ridiculous.
Just a quick note.
You're offside, Merat.
We have 10 minutes for the podcast because then we have to end it, basically.
Yeah. So look, we'll get into the combined 11s maybe next week because I think we've got enough things to cover. But maybe we'll think about that for next week and take a vote. You know, there are 5 of us, so we can always make decisions 3 against 2 or whatever it might be. Merat, do you think United get top 4 based on current form? And if not, what do we need to change in order to become competitive in the top 4?
Yeah, I think we're pretty strong for top 4 shouts. We've got the players there. We've got the we've got the results. The results are there. The performances are still there. I think, look, albeit the result didn't go our way against Newcastle, but barring Fred and Bruno, everyone else, I think, played a solid game. We just didn't create enough in the attacking third. We had dominated the possession. Second half, Newcastle were out of the game. They were just sitting in their half. But I think we do have the squad and the manager, especially, to get top 4 this season. And I think
the only attacking player that's good is Anthony there, bro. Sorry,
Cristiano.
Emil's still on it.
No, but it has Cristiano. Okay, but what is it? Cristiano has 1 season in him, bro.
Yeah, but he's still legend. He's still world class.
Of course, I'm not saying he's not a legend. He's a legend.
No, he's world class right now. He's legend. That's another question. He's world class right now. And Emil,
I'm not saying you don't start Ronaldo, but like, how are you gonna what do you mean Rashford? Like, why would you start?
You're saying you take Jesus over Ronaldo? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, Rashford.
I would.
Thinking. Why would you?
Even Rashford over Jesus? I take him every day of the week.
Or Saka, you put Rashford in front of Saka.
Yeah, I don't like Saka.
I want to make this point.
Someone clip this. Someone clip
over
this.
the last 1 season and how Saka has done over the last season. It's ridiculous, bro.
Saka's won nothing in his whole career. He's a choker.
Okay, it has nothing to do with him winning, but he's just starting.
But he's not a winner. You were talking about the best squad to win the Premier League or the challenge to the Premier League title.
Oh, you're telling me that you're gonna put Rashford in the best squad to win the Premier League? That's ridiculous, bro.
Based on these 2 players, you know what? We'll leave the conversation for
Emil.
time.
Emil, okay. Yeah, we'll get into that next week. Emil, do you think United have what it takes for top 4?
Well, I think so. I mean, I just don't understand. You guys have. I'm saying you guys have such good players. You have top 4 players. I don't know I just don't know what's missing. I feel like sometimes, I don't know, like the ego
According to
gets...
you, Saka's missing.
Oh yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying, but that's just of the conversation. No, what I mean is, I feel like sometimes their ego gets the best of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like individual players, you know, they think that, okay, like, you know, I don't know. That's what I feel like. It's like, you know, because they're such a good team, like they're an amazing team. They have such a, guys have such an amazing starting 11, and it's not like you don't spend. You spend. It's not like you're not spending, and it's still every time you're spending, always something is missing, something is not there. So I just don't understand what there is. You know, is it maybe in the players? I mean, even manager-wise, you guys changed like what, 4 managers in the last 4 years, or what, 5 years, and so many spendings, like, and still something is missing. So what's going wrong here? If the managers are changing, and it's not like you guys had shit managers, you guys had, you know, some world-class managers, even now with Ten Hag, and then also world-class signings as well. So if you're having world-class signings and a world-class manager, so where does the problem leave it then? That's what I don't understand.
I think the problem is this. We make signings of Casemiro, Van der Beek, all these guys, yet we will still see McTominay and Fred start.
I agree. That's also
we'll still see Rashford and Martial in the team and not have a new striker in. I'm not saying we need to buy these new players. I think those are good players. But yeah, like you said, I think there is an ego situation. And I think for some of the what Ten Hag wants to do is a bit beyond what they're capable of, both on a physical point of what they can do with their legs and both mentally what they can do in their minds. Can they think that extra pass ahead? Can they think that play through? I don't think we've got those guys.
I think if we ending conversation on this, it will be very important to see what will happen on, I think, this Wednesday when United play Spurs. This Wednesday, right?
Spurs. Yeah.
It will be really fitting to see at the level United are at. I think Ten Hag still has that naivety, I would say, sometimes, as we saw against Brentford or City, where it's brave that you think you can play on the same level as City, but you just can't. That's why the score was what it was, because Ten Hag thought...
We won the second half, though, you know.
Okay, won the second half.
We drew 3-3. What are you talking about? Erling Haaland's a robot.
He thought, you know, you could play City and win on the level field, which you can't at the moment. So I think Spurs is going to be important, because Spurs play a certain style of football, which is like an antidote to what Ten Hag wants to play. If United play this high line, you know, all forward, you know, steaming ahead, it will be a Spurs victory, because that's how they play. They play on a counter-attack. They play and they sit back, and they wait until you commit men forward. So I think if United manage to beat Spurs, I think top 4 is doable. But
I'm more United.
Big game.
Big game. I mean, I would like United to win that as well, because I can't watch Spurs get results.
What do you guys think the score prediction is going to be for that game?
I don't know.
3-1 United or 2-2. I don't know. That's, I mean, guessing.
4-0. 4-0.
I think it's 1-0 either way.
4-0. Where's the
4-0 United? Yes.
Oh my God.
I see Spurs winning this one, to be honest, guys. I think 2-1 Spurs winning.
I don't know. Yeah, 2-1. Yeah, I would say 2-1 United, to be honest, or 1-1, 2-1 or 1-1, one of the two.
I think
1-0. All right. I guess we'll end it on score prediction notes, guys. I think we've done a good job on the first one. So thanks, guys, for hopping on, and we'll look to do more of these every week and discuss, you know, the talking points. I think there's plenty there. You know, VAR referees. We'll have a look at that this week and see if there's any improvements on the consistencies, at least.
Yeah, and I think, at the end of every week, it's the best for us to do it, like on a Monday or like a Sunday, because then I guess there's most to talk about, no?
Definitely. Thanks, guys. Pleasure.